Hello, everyone. Tonight is a very special episode. Tonight, I introduce you to an old friend, Dean-Nash. Dean is a musician with a disability. Thank you, Dean, for joining us.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me, man. This is really cool. I love the graphics that you have come up at the beginning of these as well. They're really cool. It was awesome.
So, Dean, tell us a bit about yourself. What led you to music, and how hard having a disability influenced your creative process?
Yeah, well, that's a big question. Hey, so I think, I don't know. I really I get asked a lot, sort of what led me to music, and depending on the day, it kind of depends on the answer that I give, right? Like it's I just sort of always loved it. Like I always loved the idea of I was always singing. Like that was always a thing for me. Hello, Patricia. But yeah, no, I've always been singing. And then I think once I started taking it seriously was when a lot of my friends were getting into, they were playing cricket and they were playing football and they were playing soccer. And for a little while, I would also try to play cricket and play football and play soccer. But after a while, it stopped being very viable for me. Like I was nowhere near as good at it. And so like music was a thing that I could, it was just something that made me feel capable, and a way that I could, I suppose, it was an outlet, I think for me for a while. And then I just got like intoxicated with the idea of performing. And then a little bit later on, it was more about the art of storytelling that really captivated me. And then I guess, having a disability influences my creative process in like a bunch of different ways, right? Like there's the technical aspect of it, in which as a musician who only really has the movement in one hand and one finger, that limits my playing a little bit. So I've had to be quite creative when it comes to how I approach playing. And piano is pretty much all I got. Like I can't pick up a guitar. Not that there's anything wrong with the piano, but even then, like chord shapings and stuff are different. So I think that influences the type of music that I create. But I think on a lesser, or not on a lesser, I think in a different way as well, an aspect to disability that I think gets overlooked a little bit, because it's like an invisible side of it, is the fatigue when it comes to physical disability. Like so when it comes to like creating, I think I'm quite my process is kind of slow, and because of that it's introspective, and because it's slow and introspective, it's I don't know. I think it gives a really interesting perspective and take on the things that I write. If that wasn't too rambly.
No. So,
Hmm.
what are your music influences? And let's find if you could choose, who would you most like to collaborate with?
Oh, yeah, right. Influences are so varied. Honestly, they're incredibly varied. I am just a fan of music and just a real music nerd. So I adore artists like Damien Rice is a big influence in terms of when it comes to like lyricists. I think Damien Rice and John Pike are two lyricists that I admire massively. The way that when it comes to artists like John Mayer, the way that John Mayer will there's such a complexity to the arrangements of his music, but it's so understated that it practically still feels acoustic, no matter how big the arrangement is. And I think that's incredible. And the way that he manages to tie messages throughout songs and really like tie an album together based on like one little tiny section of his life. There have been points in my life where like I'll listen to a John Mayer album and be like, well, this sums me up. Like his album Room for Squares. I heard that when I was in uni, and I was like, and that is all about like growing into adulthood and transitions out of youth and trying to figure out what your place in the world is at still such a young and naive age. And so I found that song at that point or that album at that point, and I was like, wow. And then I think as John Mayer's gotten older and I've gotten older, like the more stuff that he releases, the more I kind of resonate with like that. I'm a massive music nerd. I'm obsessed with music theater, and so I take a lot of influence on that as well. I suppose again, being a storyteller is first and foremost for me, and the way that people kind of connect emotion and melody is huge. Who could I collaborate with? That's so huge. There's so many. I think at the moment, just because it's the first one that pops into my head, and it might not necessarily, I might regret it. I might think of someone else later. I'm like, oh, I should have said them. But at the moment, all I can think of is Lin-Manuel Miranda, who wrote Into the Heights and Hamilton, and a slew of other incredible projects. Just to sit down and write and just kind of learn his process, I think would be one of the most like valuable things ever. Yeah.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easy way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools to let you record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And how do you approach gigs such having service for the in someone I guess limit your accessibility to venue you want to perform in?
Yeah. So, see, I kind of, I'm quite lucky in the sense that personally my accessibility isn't that inhibited. I always play in groups. So I mean, if I was playing solo, in places. I think carrying massive amounts of gear in and out of venues would be a hard slog. I remember I used to play these venues in Darlinghurst with giant staircases leading into them, and even carrying a little bit of gear. By the time I started playing the gig, I was like wrecked, you know, and that was a younger man's game. I don't even think I could do that anymore. But when it comes to accessibility in venues, maybe the last few years last couple of years, I think I've been a little bit more conscious of that. And I am picky when it comes to my venues when I get a chance to be. And I try to go for more accessible venues. Like I just don't like the idea of playing places where a huge group of friends and people who like support my art that I'm eternally grateful for can't actually come to the show. And I think the industry has a lot to answer for when it comes to accessibility. I think the art sector, you know, is it's getting there, but I don't think it's always been particularly mindful of that. And so it is remarkably difficult to find accessible arts venues, and it shouldn't be. That shouldn't be a thing. So as much as I can, I try to find accessible venues to be playing in.
And I give it all to, in a way, about showing the next generation of the what is possible when you put your mind to it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, I think it's really important as creators to be you know, rope ladder down and paving the way. I think it's really important, you know, to be, you know, standing in line with, you know, just because I can, you know, struggle to get my gear into an inaccessible venue, and I can still play the show. You know, I know that it's a moral gray area, right? Like I will, yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that if you don't draw attention to something, then you're not, you know, it's important to be part of the fight. You know, I think that's it. I think we identify, society's built on the things that we see, the art that we digest, whether it be on stage or whether it be on film. And at the moment, for the most part, what we see is a very narrow view of society on those stages and in those films. And so I think if you know, if as a creator, you're trying to if you're standing up for a particular message, now, you know, you're shedding light to it. If you're seen as performing a certain way and only performing in a certain way and drawing attention to a problem, then the problem is, you know, hopefully going to be fixed. But if you ignore an issue, you know, yeah.
Nice. How is acting different from music creativity, and how can both be used as a vehicle advocacy?
Yeah, that's a good question. Look, I think there's obviously differences between music and acting, but I think the important thing is what's similar between them. I've you know, people have always sort of said to me, they're like, oh, you know, which do you prefer? Like, do you prefer music or do you prefer acting, or like which comes first, or what do you love more? And the answer is like equally. I like it equally, because I hope I didn't just step on your next question, by the way. But it's because it all comes from the same place. It's all storytelling. You know, that's what it is. It's storytelling. And I think I think for me, storytelling and advocacy absolutely go hand in hand, because what is advocacy but sharing our stories and sharing our stories authentically? And so I think that's it. I think that's how we do it, man. I think we just tell our stories.
I am so pleased to hear that answer, because the main reason why I founded Australian Disability, you would notice growing up with a disability, you really see people like us, people with a odd gait or who speak differently, and it's important that as media evolves and new media becomes more prominent, we use that as an opportunity to build a more inclusive society.
Yeah, no, that's it. I think I came into acting pretty late, all things considered. Not because I didn't love it when I was younger, but because I had never seen, I'd never seen a person with a disability gainfully employed as an actor, like in film or in theater. And so I just didn't see it as an avenue for myself, and I kind of stumbled into it a little bit later. And then once I realized that it's not always about, it's really nice when opportunities exist, but when they don't exist, like you can forge them. You can start that fight. If there's no door, make a door, barge one down if you have to. I think like that's sort of where we're at. So hopefully, like you said earlier, the next generation or generation after don't have to as much.
Oh, what I think is, if the door doesn't exist, create your own door with a wrap.
Yeah, exactly. That's good. I might have to use that. That's brilliant.
Well, that's copyright. You need to reference me.
Absolutely. Of course. I wouldn't dream of not. That's fantastic. But you're spot on. That's it.
So, the interesting part, tell people where they can listen to your music.
Yeah. So I recently released a 6-track EP, like a mini album, which is streaming everywhere. So anywhere that you get your music from, whether it be Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube, or Deezer or iHeartRadio, any of them, you can find it there by just searching Dean-Nash. The EP is called In the Autumn. I nearly forgot the name of my own album there. That's awkward. But the album is called In the Autumn by Dean-Nash. It's streaming everywhere. I would love it if you would give it a listen. I'm also working at the moment. Well, I had the immense pleasure of being a writer on a musical theatre project called The Breaths in Between by 11 O'Clock Theatre, and they're on Instagram, in which 10 writers from diverse backgrounds, whether they be LGBTQI+, whether they be people of color, whether they be disabled, it was all these diverse writers in a room, and we wrote this amazing musical, all these amazing songs, and the show is now being cast, and it is showing in Melbourne, hopefully, fingers crossed, COVID willing, in November. So it's just a beautiful piece of work, with a beautiful cast and a beautiful creative team. And so 11 O'Clock Theatre is them, and they are definitely worth a follow. They are wonderful. But that's me.
Please keep us informed. We would love to review it.
Yeah, absolutely. I will definitely do that. I'll shoot you a message with all the information, and we'll definitely keep chatting about it.
And the moment we were waiting for, sit back and enjoy the musical talent of Dean-Nash.
This is Dean from the GoPro, and you're only doing. Oh, you're doing a full take.
Yeah, full take.
Can we just get a clap in there? Yep.
Dreamt about you the other night for the first time in a while. Dreamt you were doing well. You were dancing in your kitchen like we always used to do, just with someone new. He was taller than me, I bet he makes more money. He's probably not as funny, but he makes you laugh all the same, and you're smiling. And he was smiling, and I was happy. See, you're doing well. And you were smiling, and he was smiling. Yeah, I was just happy. See, you're doing well. When I woke, I got to thinking about the last time we went drinking and how you're doing now. How's your dog? I hope he's great. How's your family these days? Are they still giving you hell? And I hope you found your peace, or a little bit of quiet at the very least. And I hope you're happy, 'cause I'd be happy to see you smiling, and now you're doing well. And I hope you're happy, yeah, I'd be happy to see you smiling, now you're doing well. And in case you were wondering, I am doing fine. I love and I am loved, and for the first time in a while, my cup is full. And I am happy, truly happy, making new memories. I'm doing well, and I hope you're happy, truly happy, making new memories. hope you're doing well.
Well, thank you, Dean, for joining us. It's really special.
It's it was you've got audio playing. It was yeah, no, it was a pleasure. It was an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for bringing me on. It's just good to have a chat. You know, it's been so long, so it was good to chat about this
Well,
stuff.
you know what? If you know any artists with a disability, or even those who have been kind to you, will be happy to have them on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll spread the word.
But for now,
Yeah, bye for now. Thank you.
Jonathan, and that's Dean-Nash. You've been watching Cryptid Australia Weekly podcast on everything disability. Join us next week for more Crip Chat. Wait. Everybody, everyone. Bye.